Bellator 260 takes place Friday, June 11th. These are the full card predictions and betting preview for the entire event. I am super excited for this card. We have some really high-level matchups taking place. Bellator is delivering, guys. Constant quality events, and this one will be probably one of their best cards in a while. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Goal on this video, we're going for that 100 likes. Let's get to this first fight of the night, all the way at the bottom. Alex Polizzi versus Gustavo Trujillo. Interesting matchup here between Trujillo and Polizzi. Opposite styles here. On one side, Polizzi, very good wrestler, submission game that's pretty decent as well. I will say in his last fight, he just ran into a difficult matchup. He fought Julius Anglicas, who's, I think, a contender in that light heavyweight division for Bellator and somebody to watch. Now he's taking on Gustavo Trujillo, step down in competition, but Trujillo can fight. He's a nasty striker, bare knuckle fighting experience. He fights over at the BKFC. He's got that wide, more open style of stance, but he is a serious power puncher, and in his right hand has a ton of knockout power. He's won fights over at BKFC. He's hurt people at BKFC. The ground game is suspect, though. I have seen him put on his back and controlled. And in this fight, the former LFA champion, Alex Polizzi, is way too big of a step up in competition. 3-1 versus 7-1. Polizzi's a lock pick here. He's going to dominate getting this fight to the ground and controlling. I'm still excited for Trujillo's potential, but the ground game is suspect. He does have good length at 6'2" and 78.5-inch reach. And against different fighters in different matchups, if they would have gave him a striker, I think he would have been extremely successful. But they give him Alex Polizzi, who's a difficult fight. I think he gets grinded out for 3 rounds. Decision win, Alex Polizzi, one of those lock picks as well, because stylistically, just a bad matchup. And definitely one of those guys that you'll probably want to throw in your parlay. We'll be doing that best bets video in the next couple of days, and we'll definitely be talking about Alex Polizzi on some of those parlays. So first fight of the night, we're going Polizzi over Gustavo Trujillo by domination. This fight, it's not even Bellator level. Like, these girls are not great fighters, but they are in Bellator. They get opportunities to fight, and they're here for us. I don't really have a lot of great things to say about either girl, to be 100% honest. On the side of Amanda Bell, very awkward striker. Most of her punches have no pop. They're pushing punches. Tends to fight at the mid-range and does her best work from there. She's not a high-level striker, but she is tough and has that pressure-forward style. On the other side, Marina Mokhnatkina, we're just going to call her Marina. That last name's difficult to pronounce. Decent striker with that Thai-esque style, does have some decent takedowns in her game, and submission skills, definitely there. But Bell is going to be too much for her. The pressure striking, she's going to walk her down and move forward. Her record is disgusting at 7-7. Definitely going to be somebody that I would probably pass the bet on. Like, if you guys are looking to play bets on Bellator, definitely lean you towards skipping the women's MMA, especially when you have a 7-7 fighter versus a 4-2 fighter. Some common opponents between them both: Janae Harding, win for Bell, and a loss for Marina. That doesn't really matter. It's not MMA math. That doesn't always work. I just think she's the better fighter and going to get a win here by a decision in what could be a atrocious fight. Definitely possible for an atrocious fight here. But Amanda Bell should win. Skip the bet on this one. That's my opinion for this fight. Let's get to the next bout. Lucas Brennan versus Matthew Skibicki. This is an interesting fight. Lucas Brennan on one side, 21-year-old prospect. You got a 26-year-old who was at one point 4-0, but has lost 3 straight fights. He lost his last fight by stoppage, submitted prior to that, and then he also has a split decision loss to a 1-4 fighter. He's turned out to be a bit of a letdown, but he fights Lucas Brennan, who's had a good amount of experience in Bellator. He actually has made his professional debut there and been there since. I think that they're definitely trying to build him up. A 4-3 record looks nice on the resume to have a win over this guy. But as far as actual skill set, Matthew is not all that great. From what I've seen, suspect grappler, like really suspect on the ground. He's not a great striker either. He's okay at best with the striking, and he doesn't have experience against anybody good. He lost to a 1-4 fighter. Like, let's be honest here. He's not good. He's an opponent for Lucas Brennan. karate-esque style striker on the side of Brennan. Decent wrestling skill set too. When he's on top, he's going to shoot for submissions and pepper you with ground and pound. Easy pick. Not going to be close here. We're going to see Lucas Brennan get the win. Now, the issue is, how does he get it done? I do believe he's going to shoot for a submission, and I think he's going to succeed by submission. Could also see a TKO. It's going to be him finishing the fight. Inside the distance, Lucas Brennan, he gets the victory over Matthew Skibicki, and I do think he's one of those bets that you can throw money down. It's a confident play, and he's going to beat Matthew Skibicki in this fight here. Lucas Brennan, not even close. Next bout, one-armed legend Nick Newell versus Bobby King. Unfortunately, Bobby King's name is so close to Bobby King Green. You look through the internet, you got to dig deep to find footage on this guy because it's filled with Bobby King Green stuff. So maybe he needs some type of different nickname to separate himself from Bobby Green. On the side of Nick Newell, one-arm legend. The guy's got dangerous guillotines. He's a very tricky grappler with good wrestling skills. On the other side, Bobby King's actually a decent striker, and he chops the low kicks nicely, quick, solid movements. I mean, the guy is good overall. His takedown defense is actually really good too, and his reflexes are really fast. He's better than Nick Newell, guys. Nick Newell, out of his prime, he's 35 now. Granted, Bobby King is 37, but he has both arms. Serious advantage, guys. I'm sorry. I like Nick Newell. The story is great, but I think Bobby King is going to win this fight by a decision over Nick Newell. I'm going with Bobby King. And I think that's going to be one of those plays that the money will be looking good for, maybe even some plus money. I'm going Bobby King all day on this one, and I would potentially be willing to place a somewhat moderate bet on him as well and make some dinero as he takes on Nick Newell. We're going with Bobby King to win it. You look at Nick Newell's last fight, he lost to a 10-6 fighter. He has some other losses as well. The guy was in his prime several years back over in World Series of Fighting. He's not there anymore. Bobby King is going to win this fight, and I don't think that it's going to be really all that competitive on the feet. On the ground, I do think it is competitive, but I think King is able to defend. It might be a 29-28 decision, but I still see Bobby King winning the fight. He should beat Nick Newell in this matchup here, guys. But gotta love Nick Newell, and I guess I would say I wouldn't be disappointed being wrong to see Nick Newell get a big win. Ty-wan Claxton and Justin Gonzales. This is a difficult matchup for Justin Gonzales. He's a feared fighter on the regional scene. Nobody wants to fight this guy. He's a good striker with really good reflexes. He's patient on the feet with his striking as well. Wrestling background is very good. He's a good scrambler, and his ground and pound is powerful. On the other side, you got a southpaw in Ty-wan Claxton, explosive striker with really solid kickboxing skills, and physically, this man is extremely strong with decent wrestling too. I mean, this guy wrestled high level. It's going to be a really difficult fight here. Both guys good wrestlers, better wrestlers, Gonzales. I think Gonzales is the better fighter overall. He's more experienced with professional fights, but Claxton fought better guys. My prediction, Gonzales wins a decision here. One of those fights where it's true pick'ems. Maybe you throw Gonzales on a bet straight, or maybe a riskier parlay, because when you have top guys right in their primes really trying to make a push towards being contenders, it's going to be high-level stuff. This is some of Bellator's best featherweights, outside of, their top upper echelon guys. This is guys emerging as contenders. So going Gonzales, he should win a decision in this fight, and he's going to beat Ty-wan. Next fight on the card, Kyle Crutchmer and Levan Chokheli. On the side of Kyle Crutchmer, good wrestler. Really good wrestler. Athletic fighter too, I would say. But he's not beating guys all that impressively, and he lost his last fight. It was against Kerman, who's actually on The Ultimate Fighter right now, the last pick. Nobody knows Kerman beat a legit undefeated guy in Kyle Crutchmer, and he was overlooked totally with the picks in the house. I'm guessing that was because they felt like there was some disconnect between the coachability of Kerman and, both teams. Whatever. I don't know that much about him personally. I just know he beat Kyle Crutchmer in their fight. Good low kicks from Crutchmer as well. On the side of Levan Chokheli, slick striker with lots of movement and really nasty leg kicks. This guy is a serious prospect, and he also has a huge height advantage, 6'1" to 5'8", guys. This is not going to be close here. It's going to be a domination. It's going to be a stoppage, knockout win for Levan Chokheli, and I think he does it in the first round, maybe 4-minute mark, 3.5 minutes in. He's knocking out Kyle Crutchmer. The reach advantage, it's going to make, the length of him is going to make it extremely hard for Kyle Crutchmer to take him down. When there's this much of a height difference, they get into the clinch, that length is going to be too much. Levan Chokheli is going to win this fight, and he's going to win by knockout over Kyle Crutchmer, and I do think he's potentially one of those guys that you can actually throw some cash at, and I think he's going to deliver. We've gotten to the main card, so if you guys have not yet, smash that like button. We're here in the main card, starting it off with Demarques Jackson and Mark Lemminger. This is a main card I'm excited for. This is a card overall. Bellator tends to really deliver with thick cards nowadays. It's not like the old days of Bellator where there were shit undercards. No, they have really good undercards, and then their main events are top fighters in the world at this point. And this matchup, no exception, both guys, mid-level Bellator guys. They're decent fighters that I think are going to be potentially in Bellator for a bit, at least on the side of one of them, the one that I'm picking to win. We'll first talk about Demarques Jackson, an okay striker, honestly. He's definitely better than Lemminger. He's faster, but he's not, extremely great on the feet. He's pretty athletic, and I'd say the athleticism, striking-wise, would be his advantage here. Some snapping low kicks. On the other side, you got Lemminger, pretty average striker, nothing special from him. He's not super fast either, and his striking isn't explosive, but wrestling-wise, this guy's nasty. He's a very good wrestler. He's extremely physically strong. He's also going to be seriously bigger than Demarques Jackson here, 5'8" to 6'1". Serious size difference. When they clinch up, Jackson's getting thrown around like a rag doll. I don't see this fight being super competitive. I see the wrestling advantage for Lemminger being way too much. Demarques Jackson is susceptible to takedowns against certain fighters. You see a win over Jake Smith by TKO. He was an undersized guy for that welterweight division. I feel like in this matchup, Demarques Jackson, he's not a slouch. He's not a bum by any means. He lost to Gracik Bosnian in the last one, what was that, a month ago? I think we're going to see Lemminger put the late stoppage on him. 3rd round TKO, and I think he's going to control the entire fight, and the wrestling is what wins him the bout. Mark Lemminger should be a lock pick as well here. We're going with him to win the fight by a TKO in that 3rd round, and that is exciting first fight to start the main card off. Let's get to this next one. Let's do it. Vanessa Porto and Ilara Joanne. Joanne is that Pitbull Brothers protege, another girl from the Pitbull Brothers team. There's a lot of proteges from there. 27 versus 37. Vanessa Porto's gotten old fast. Wow. She's getting a chance now at later age to fight in the best league outside of the UFC, which is Bellator. Sporadic striker on the side of Ilara Joanne, but a good striker, I would say. Not great, but the hand speed's pretty nice. Lots of feints, a ton of movement. Stance is a bit open style, scrappy. The hands inside, she'll mix it up and she'll fight. On the other side, Porto, definitely the more calculated technical striker, but that doesn't necessarily make her the better striker. Thai style of striking, stance switches, and I would say overall well-rounded. Fought Carmouche in the last fight was kind of a snooze fest. I really hope this one isn't all that boring. 37 years old is going to be something that does worry me, but Vanessa Porto has just fought so much better competition. Ilara Joanne is not bad. Lost her last fight to Kana Watanabe, but actually didn't have a terrible performance. Just seemed to gas a bit. Also beat Beck Rawlings, but she just hasn't fought good girls. 9-5 record. 27, potential is there, but she's fighting one of the top Brazilian females outside of the UFC in Vanessa Porto, a legit flyweight contender, a girl that's pretty good, and I think a staple for Bellator. That's why they signed her. Vanessa Porto should win, but I don't love a bet on this fight. I don't love a bet on, a lot of these women's MMA bouts, but especially this specific matchup with a 37-year-old versus an unproven 27-year-old who is one thing proven, scrappy. She's got heart and she can fight, but potentially gasses a bit. I think Porto grinds towards a decision win over Ilara Joanne, but betting-wise, gonna pass this one personally, but I have Porto for the win, and I think she moves forward in this Bellator flyweight division as a girl to keep an eye on, but I don't think title challenger, and if she does fight for the title, I don't think she's winning. She's way too short to fight some of the top girls, and the striking level difference will be clearly evident. This fight here, though, featured bout of the night, Aaron Pico. He takes on Aiden Lee. This is an awesome matchup. I'm actually really excited because Aiden Lee ain't no bum. This is no easy stepping stone fight for Aaron Pico. On the side of Lee, you have a really rangy striker with lots of movement, that karate-esque style that he brings to the table, and there's a ton of lateral movement. I mean, he's moving pretty much the entire time he's striking. Uses that lead hand as a post pretty nicely to control range, and he's a tall guy. 6 foot, 75-inch reach. He's taller by 4 inches, longer by 4.5 inches. I mean, the advantage is there for Aiden Lee striking over Aaron Pico as far as distance. On the side of Pico, though, he's a nasty striker. Good boxing background, amateur-wise. Definitely has gotten over-aggressive in the past and knocked out. But he's not the same guy anymore. He looks so patient in that last fight, controlling fighters on the ground, looking for wrestling. This guy's one of the best wrestlers, probably in MMA pound for pound right now. He was 1 win away from being an Olympic wrestler. Aaron Pico is a savage, and this matchup against Aiden Lee is a great test. Pico's got a lot of things to like: the knockout power, the high-level wrestling, the explosiveness. But the wrestling is what I think wins him this matchup. Explosive on top with the ground and pound. And I think he's a scary up-and-coming contender in Bellator and in the featherweight division. I think this guy could make a legit run. I feel like Aaron Pico has all the tools. He's putting it all together. He's faced losses. You come back better from the defeats. I don't think you get worse from it if you have the mindset like an Olympian that Aaron Pico most definitely does have. I feel like in the first round, the distance you'll see from Aiden Lee might be decent, but eventually Pico finds a way inside. You look back at the Aiden Lee-Saul Rogers fight. He was controlled on the ground there. Pico a level above Saul Rogers with the wrestling. Pico's going to get on top, and he's going to ground and pound Aiden Lee. But I still like Aiden Lee as a prospect a lot, but he's getting beat by Aaron Pico. I see a TKO win for Aaron Pico. And another guy, I would be willing to throw some money at Aaron Pico. He's a legit fighter and a legit prospect. And I don't see Aiden Lee beating him, but I like Aiden Lee, and he's definitely somebody that I want to watch and I want to keep watching because I've been very entertained from what I've seen of him in the past. But Aaron Pico's going to beat him up here. TKO round number 2 for Aaron Pico. Let's see how he gets past that reach, because 5'8" to 6 foot and 4.5-inch reach advantage is legit. But Aaron Pico will, I promise you, succeed here and get himself a TKO win. And we're moving up to the co-main event. We got Paul Daley versus Jason Jackson, 175. Daley don't fight at welterweight anymore. Remember that. He said he's done fighting at 170. He can fight at 75. And in this matchup, he takes on the ass-kicking machine, Jason Jackson. What a great fight. I cannot wait to see this matchup. I'm actually really happy that they booked it. I feel like this is the fight that I think I said I wanted to see after both of their last fights, and we're getting it here. If it wasn't Jason Jackson in a title fight or right close to it, give him Paul Daley. Definitely a serious name as far as Bellator goes. Very good striker is Paul Daley. He's got dynamite in the left hook. Closes distance extremely well to land his power punches. Now, you look at that Sabah Homasi fight. The man was badly hurt, and that was only, what, a month ago? By the time the fight comes, what is that going to be, 5-6 weeks? It's going to be, okay, it's going to be almost 2 months by the time that fight happens. But he was hurt. He was stunned. Potentially mildly concussed in that fight. Jason Jackson on the other side, a very good kickboxer, got a close, maybe controversial win over Neiman Gracie, but Gracie wasn't doing anything when he got the fight to the ground, so Jason Jackson probably deserved that win. He's a good kickboxer who's really good with his range management, and he fights well from range. Decent wrestling skill set as well, and I think that we're going to see the wrestling potentially here. I do think he'll look to wrestle Paul Daley a bit, because if you get touched on the chin by Daley, you're going out. Even if you have Daley out on his feet, thinking that you're about to win, as Sabah Homasi probably did, he catches you and puts you out. Daley's got a ton of heart as well. The guy's a legend of the game, but I think Jason Jackson is going to have the right game plan. Sanford MMA, guys go there and they shoot up tenfold and become a lot better. He's going to out-wrestle Paul Daley. He's going to win the clinch battles. He's going to get on top. He's going to mix it up from kickboxing range, but be extremely cautious because he knows if he gets touched, he's getting knocked out. Jason Jackson for the win. Reach advantage, height advantage, wrestling advantage, but betting-wise, be smart on this fight because Paul Daley definitely going to have some value in a knockout prop bet because he can knock anyone out. If he touches your chin, he's going to knock you out. I like the idea, though, of Paul Daley getting into this celebrity boxing thing with Jake Paul and all these guys. I think that's what his future holds now that Showtime has signed Paul Daley. Maybe he's one of the guys coming up. Maybe he fights against some other MMA fighter. I don't know. I heard Mike Perry wants to get into this boxing stuff. Is anybody opposed to Paul Daley, Mike Perry in boxing? I would like to see it. So Paul Daley, even with a loss, I think there's big paychecks coming if he gets out of the MMA game and maybe gets into this fun boxing game that we're seeing take over the combat sports industry. But main event time, so smash the like button if you haven't yet. As I said, goal on this video, 100 likes. I think we can cruise way past it, especially how early these predictions are out. Douglas Lima, Yaroslav, Amosov. On the side of Amosov, the guy's incredible. 25-0. Who's 25-0? I mean, Khabib was 25-0, and he's one of the greatest of all time. He's a very calm fighter with a combat sambo background as Yaroslav Amosov. Very good wrestling, elite level wrestling, to be honest. I mean, Logan Storley and him had a competitive fight. He squeaked by with a very competitive split decision. Kickboxing skills are legit for Amosov. The jab is very good as well, and the straight cross definitely has some value there. I mean, if he touches you, he can hurt you. The guy has a lot of experience at 25-0 at this point, even though he hasn't fought a guy like Douglas Lima ever. I still think there's a lot of valuable experience in the past. On the side of Lima, you got a very good striker. The guy's got legit knockout power. He's technically super sound on the feet, and he's also really well-rounded. At this point, it's not like you're just going to destroy him on the ground. It's not going to be competitive. This guy can compete anywhere the fight goes. Obviously, the last fight, you look, he lost to Gegard, but Gegard is a middleweight who's incredible. One of the best middleweights on the planet. So not a disappointing loss there. He lost a decision. Nothing bad about it. He's got some really good speed and a solid jab. Douglas Lima is a special fighter. I think Amosov's a great wrestler. I think he's got very good combat sambo, and he's a damn good fighter. But I'll be 100% honest. I am not 100% sold just yet that he's going to be the champion of the world. So for that reason, I am going to pick Douglas Lima. How does he get this done? Well, Yaroslav Amosov has never been finished, but I do think Douglas Lima is a finisher. I think he could potentially put the finishing touches on him. Some submissions, some knockouts. Granted, it's been a while since we've seen a win. It's been a year and 7 months since he beat up Rory McDonald, who's one of the best fighters outside of the UFC in the welterweight division. For me, we're going to see Douglas Lima TKO win in the 4th round over Yaroslav Amosov. I feel like when we get to the championships rounds, we're going to see Amosov get a bit tired. And that's when we're going to see Douglas Lima absolutely do his best work. He wins this fight by a decision. Douglas Lima retains the title and still champion of the world. As far as bets on this fight, personally don't love it. Early odds that we're looking at, -125 to +101 at close money. Not a bad bet, maybe on Lima, but he's in a legit fight here against Yaroslav Amosov. Overall, though, we have a very exciting Bellator card. I cannot wait for it. A lot more videos besides just this coming on this Bellator card. So make sure if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, smash that like button too. Let's get those 100 likes or more. Let's blast past it. Overall, though, I'm pumped for this Bellator card. Lots of good action. As more of the betting odds release, we will be deep diving the betting breakdown, which will probably be up sometime Monday or Tuesday, depending on the bookmakers. But these are the full card predictions and the betting preview. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Smash that like button, subscribe, follow my social media too, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And I will see you all in the next video.